If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except will, which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
So the first impression that you get when you read this poem is that it's about uncertainty. And in a way it is, because there's a boy who's puzzled about life and about entering manhood, and he's trying to find his way around all of that, and it's uncertain. But on the other hand, the poem persuades you to feel everything but uncertainty. It tells you to believe in yourself and always remain with your head held high, and always have honest intentions in your heart. The theme of this poem is that there are lessons to be taken from life in order to grow. So it's easy to give in to human emotions and follow a bad path in life. However, if you focus on the now, then everything will work itself out. In the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, the speaker, as a fatherly figure, feels inclined to impart wisdom to his son about living virtuously through the journey of life. The speaker argues his point through rhyme scheme, personification, and syntax being one long sentence. In the first stanza of the poem, the author employs the rhyme scheme of AB, AB, CD, CD. So the poem reads, do not be tired by waiting, don't deal in lies, don't give way to hating, don't talk too wise, don't make dreams your master, don't make thoughts your aim, triumph and disaster, those two imposters just the same. So basically, this rhyme scheme alludes to the theme of how doing Y will cause you to have Z results. So each line of the rhyme is a piece of advice that will eventually help his son, to whom the speaker's talking. It'll help him become a great man, and so thus doing ABC will get you XYZ. Now towards the middle of the poem, Rudyard Kipling chooses to personify triumph and disaster by labeling them as imposters. And this personification is sort of like a deeper advice when he warns his son that he should always hold his head high, even when disaster strikes, and to always keep humility during his winning moments. This personification is done because when you bring inanimate things to life, it allows for us to understand their nature and their actions in a better way. So it's easier for us to relate to something that's human and possesses human traits. So in this case, the kid can relate his feelings of imposters and the things that they inflict, like betrayal. So like now the kid knows not to yield to these things. And also because both triumph and disaster are fleeting, they're both temporary. So the kid, from this advice, the kid learns not to dwell in these things because they're constantly changing. In the closing of the poem, the author reveals that this entire poem has been one long sentence. And this form of syntax is most effective in contributing to the meaning of the poem because it gives the illusion that the poem has just been like this one big piece of the father's advice. Like he sat down at once and like said all of this in one complete thought. So the poem seems to continue without end. And just like it does, we can assume that the son feels this same dread of entering manhood. And that's why he's needing this advice from his father. So really the poem can be seen as one long metaphor for the obstacles that you face in life. Because just as this poem is like really long and sort of shifts from talking about staying positive to all the goals that you might have in life, to then talking about letting all of them go and not making them your master, to then circling back and talking about staying true to yourself, that can be a little bit confusing. And just as that's confusing, we can sort of connect it to how life has so many bumps and trial and error. And so really like the elongated poem helps us understand the theme more through this way. Rudyard Kipling builds a direct relationship between rhyme scheme, personification, and syntax in order to allude to the meaning of this poem. Each literary device helps the speaker convey the meaning of patience, humility, strength, and virtue to his son. The reason that this poem is so important is because it can be interpreted and applied both in modern day as well as when it was written. And today this poem really serves as motivation to keep a positive outlook on life and to always believe in yourself and to never fall into those, faulty and weak human emotions. But if you do, always remember to pick yourself back up. And I think that this obviously not only applies to when the author was saying it to his son, trying to get him to enter manhood and see manhood as not being so difficult, and then telling him that if he followed all of these virtues that he would gain the world. And so it can not only apply to that situation, but I think now, like, sort of out of context, we can connect to it because we see that, or we can understand that life is going to be hard, but if you live sort of with these guidelines, life won't be as difficult as you think it will be.